Hello everyone, I'll give you a moment to fully connect, but hello, welcome on in to today's live stream. I am Delphine, this is Amena Art, and yeah, so we're going to go over some actual original art pieces and obviously their print counterparts tonight, but I'm going to actually be showing you guys a little bit more up close the actual physical pieces. So it's been a while since I've brought out the actual original paintings and stuff tonight, and obviously we'll compare them with the actual prints we manufacture here at Amena Art. So come on, join in, stop in, say hi and stuff, and it's going to be a very nice live, I think, honestly. But welcome on in and stuff. Once again, I am Delphine, this is Amena Art, and we do all things luxury art based. But I already took the liberty of setting up the first one, so everything over here is good. But this one is the first one for tonight. As you can see, actually I forgot to pin the product list up there. Totally forgot for a moment, so you guys aren't lost. There we go. But I took the liberty to put up the first original painting onto the easel today before we started this live, so you guys didn't have to wait for that one. But this is Temptation. I'll bring it actually a little bit closer to you guys. Oh, stuck full of the canvas apparently. This happens all the time. But Temptation here is by our lovely artist, Amena K, which she made all the art pieces you will be seeing today on this live. There we go, I think it's a little bit closer now. But she made this piece. This one was finished in 2025, I believe, so earlier this year. And as you can kind of see, it's this giant tiger painting. And it's kind of just like moving forward into the water to take a sip of it. It's very actually detailed in color. Like if you actually see the piece, it's got a lot of colors from the water to the flowers and even the tiger itself. It's got a ton of shades from the stripes to actual like oranges of the actual main color, which you'll probably see in a little bit if I bring it up any closer, which is a little bit difficult to do because it's bigger. But this one specifically does have a theme of kind of that wild like spring. You probably can't tell, honestly. This is actually a spring-based painting, so it's supposed to be a springtime theme. That's because these flowers here are actually springtime flowers. They bloom mainly in the spring. They're not roses, even though she paints roses practically almost the same way. But they are not roses. This is actually also supposed to be kind of safari themed, even though there is no obvious like sand or kind of like grassery happening here. It's literally just some flowers and some water here. This is supposed to be apparently like a pond in like the safari. And obviously when you're watching like National Geographic, or however you say that, they always have those scenes where they have like the giant water pond where you see all like the animals gather around. That was apparently her vision with this painting here, where she saw it and she was like, I want it to be like all the animals are gathering around. And we've got this like really buff tiger. They just come up, taking some water, and it glazes up and it locks eyes with you or another tiger or something, and it's supposed to be kind of like very wild, and that's why obviously it's called Temptation as well. I hope you guys get the I can't remember the word at the moment. You know, you get it. But it's very detailed, honestly. Her signature on this one's actually a little bit more hidden than a few of her other ones, which is down here by the roses. I don't know if you can exactly see it from where you guys are. But it's a little bit blurred into this like pond water here, which I think is lovely. But I'll try to get a little bit up close for you guys so you can see a little bit better all her color details, but I don't know. Okay, I think I got it closer. So I think this is as close as I'm getting it to you guys without taking over everything. We can really see she's doing some really good color work here. So it's got tons of different shades actually. It's a lot of them mixing in from other parts of this painting. Like this kind of like reddish purple is in actually, they're not roses, I can't remember what they're called. I think she said they were like peonies or something. But it's in the flowers as well, you can see. She's got also some of the blue from the water. This is like a lighter blue. And then this was actually an outline that's a part of the stripes, which if you watch the full interview that we had with the artist, Amena K, on our YT, you would literally, there's one part where we were discussing the blue underneath that you can kind of see glancing through some of these strokes. That's because at one point, like fun fact, at one point this painting, the actual tiger itself, was all blue. It was a perfectly blue tiger. And the reason behind this is because she wanted to make sure that she got these stripes and stuff perfectly. So making sure that it was all kind of this blue color, made sure that she can really see the stripes and get that down and kind of like the different tones and shading before she went back over it with the purples and oranges and browns to give obviously that tiger look. But I found it as a very fun fact. But it's very gorgeous, honestly, when you see it up close. Very simplistic and like detail, but it's very detailed in color. I hope that makes sense. But it is honestly one of her beautiful pieces that she's made more recently. And honestly, it's big. That is why I have it on an actual easel today. But very gorgeous, honestly. I love the colors and all her work, and I'm sure some of you that's seen some of her other ones, and you will be seeing them obviously today on the live, you will see that she really has mastered color here. But this one specifically is Temptation, very gorgeous, and honestly I think the collector print of this pretty much is identical. It's only like a little bit lighter. So this one, we're doing like a side-by-side of these today, but I think the only difference is that it has a slightly sharper contrast of lights and darks than the actual painting, which I'll show you guys a little bit up closer here. It's a little bit sharper on the shadows, but honestly, I think relatively it is pretty similar. There's been much different ones that has been completely like the wrong hue colors that we've gotten, but I think for that one specifically, it is very close, honestly. But very gorgeous piece and print. I think they obviously have some differences to it when you see the original versus the print. But the print, physically, you can tell that it's sharper probably to bring out more of that color and stuff. Well, when it's so big like this, you really don't need it to be such a drastic color difference. But let me answer some of you guys' questions, because I noticed we have some questions. So we got, start from the top, wherever I can start. Post. Let's see. Where was it? I saw it. So joy being hidden. It's very beautiful. Yes, it is a very beautiful painting. What does it represent? Well, temptation itself, as we kind of discussed earlier when we first got into this, it represents mainly kind of the more wild spring side of nature. So even though it doesn't really scream like wild, it is actually like a much more masculine, it's much more kind of fierce and obviously a little bit more sensual. It's one of her more sensual paintings that she's done. And it's meant to mainly be kind of a representation of that early like spring season of animals. So that's really the representation of this. There's not much other way to say it, honestly, that I can think of. That's like the easiest way to describe what this painting is really about. But very gorgeous piece, honestly. I admire the color work a lot on this. And I believe it was yesterday's live, so we went live yesterday. We went over the top 3 places that I would put the print over here in homes, because that's what we were doing yesterday if you weren't here. We were going over each of the prints of the square version we have, because we got a lot of square collector's prints. And I was going over where I would put it in homes, and I came up to the top 3 places, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you saw the replay or you were here yesterday. I believe it was a very nice bedroom. It was a dining room, and it was, what was it? Very nice bedroom, dining room. I want to say living room. It might have not been living room, but I feel like it was living room. I know the first 2 was dining room and a very nice bedroom, which the bedroom should make sense since it's literally called Temptation. But I felt like those 2, definitely. I'm not sure if the 3rd one was living room or not, but it felt right. Now I'm obviously standing in front of it. But honestly, I think they're both gorgeous. And even though it does have some subtle differences in the actual print itself, it's honestly very nice quality that I can tell just being in front of both of them. Which is really why I wanted to bring you to the originals out today, so I could really see the difference with you guys on them. But this one's Temptation, and obviously, once again, this is the actual reproduction one. I think it turned out very well for the original piece. A lot more kind of vibrant and darkened shadows and light, but it's honestly beautiful in its own right, because I think if it was like the normal one, it wouldn't stand out as much because it's just a lot smaller than the original. But this is Temptation. I think we're going to move on to the next piece, which we have some over there, which I already moved all the other paintings away from there. So let me see what we have over here. And I'm going to pull out some fun ones for you guys that we probably haven't gone over. So it's going to get a little bit smaller here from Temptation, because Temptation is honestly one of her bigger pieces. Oh my god, we have the next one. But honestly, she is, since this is one of her newer ones, if you've been on any of our lives before, or if you've obviously watched any of our videos, which we post like 10 a day, so you've probably seen at least once or twice the videos. Her newer pieces nowadays are absolutely humongous. Like, she has such big paintings that the ones that are a little bit older that you're going to be seeing as live in just a moment, give me a moment to move this somewhere, is going to be like tiny in comparison of what we started with. So this one, a lot smaller, as you can already see, because this was the top basically of Temptation. This is obviously at the top of this one, which I would usually bring it up, but since we're not adjusting it fully for every painting, it would take forever. But this one is called Merry Beginnings, and honestly, this one, I don't think it was done yet last year, to my knowledge. I think it was done the year before that. So it was done in 2023, and then it just got some touch-ups in 2024. Just some minor touch-ups and finally signed, but it mainly was majority finished, I believe, in 2023. This one, though, as you can kind of see, it's much smaller from the size that we just showed you, and that's because, once again, she is literally going bigger and bigger, that eventually I probably won't even be able to get on the canvas just by myself. But this one specifically, it's a swan. As you can kind of see, it's this pink swan. It's kind of got its wings like coming out, you know, showing up a little bit, and it's got this kind of like just a reef around it. This is one of her just normal reefs. She's done reefs in the past, if you've seen some of our videos nowadays, since Christmas is coming up. We're starting to repost all our reef pieces, but this is one of the few ones that she's just done barren like this. Usually they have flowers or something, and then she's kind of got like some, I can't remember, I think it's holly she's got on her, but it's kind of some holly leaves that go up around the head to get like the actual head here. But it's very gorgeous, and this one's actually, I believe, like a lot more colorful than some of the stuff that she does now. It's not really a lot more detailed, it's just really colorful and like motion. There's a lot more motion in this. Whilst nowadays, kind of like what you saw with Temptation that we just showed, it's not as much motion here where it's like coming out at you. It's more of, she adds more detail into the actual animal itself. So this would usually be more detail here instead of more in the background. But that's just fun facts because I stare at these practically all day, every day. Let me bring this one a little bit closer for you guys so you can see it. It's a little bit better, obviously. But as you can see, a lot of colors going on here, especially in the reef. This has a lot of different shades of greens and a little bit of like a greenish blue down here. Tons of them, honestly. And then you've got, obviously, the wings, which got some blues. It's got a little bit of like pinks and a little purple. And if you're paying attention, obviously, to the colors here, you will immediately notice that there's only yellow on one side of this canvas. So that was actually a choice of hers where she was like, hey, should I add yellow to this side? Which she did not, as you can kind of see here. I don't know if it's fully in frame where you can see that. It's not, it might be too close, but it does not have any yellow really here other than like a little bit up here, and that's mainly because it's just beaming off of that. All the yellow in this piece is on this side, and that mainly is because we kind of wanted to have some type of difference here where it wasn't perfectly symmetrical, where it kind of blended in, because honestly it kind of, the pinks are the same pinks as the background, same blues as the backgrounds. So it's starting to blend in a lot with the background. So what she did is she added in this yellow around the swan's neck and a little bit on the beak too, if you look up close, to kind of make its head like stand out a little bit more. That's just a little fun fact, obviously. And you can see some of the darker blues of like the sketch underneath down here and all the other fun stuff. But tons of color on this one. Very vibrant, it's very motion, as you can see, and that was actually very common for basically her 2020 to 2023 paintings. But I don't know if you guys had questions. I heard something happen over here. What is happening over here? I heard something. I don't know. Very beautiful. Yep, okay, that was the comment that we got earlier. I'm literally being spammed by things. Oh, thank you for the gift. I see you guys now. Alright, thank you. I see you now. I heard like a little chime going off, and I was like, what's the chime? But thank you for the gift. This one's actually one of the, honestly all of her works are my favorite. I say that with like every single one, but this one is one of my favorite kind of like Christmassy themed ones. I've asked you guys before if you think this is more Christmas or spring, because honestly, it's a bit of both. Its name is literally Merry Beginnings, which that's obviously leans a little bit more towards Christmas and stuff, especially with the wreath. But there is actually kind of like a general, what is it? There's a kind of like a theme behind this painting that I believe we went over with the interview with the artist Amena herself, but I'll like summarize it basically for you guys on the live here. That the theme behind this painting was things that the artist like visually. So she likes two things visually and kind of like home decor, designs and stuff. First one is Christmas. Christmas is her favorite holiday, which if you have seen our page recently, there's tons of Christmas posts starting to come out now because she's done tons of Christmas paintings and she's already decided it's Christmas time and they need to come out now. So Christmas is her favorite holiday. And swans actually represent the mansion here in Virginia, I believe, or Stafford, or kind of the area of Virginia. That is this mansion is kind of the representative animal of this mansion, that she loves designing her house and the studio all around. So in this place, it has like this very unique swan bed where it's literally like half swan, half bed. And she really got that inspiration off of it. There's a whole, I'm pretty sure that you can find it somewhere if you just look up swan bed, Virginia. You'll find some type of thing about it. But it is this gorgeous swan bed. It swoops down with the head just like how the painting is. And the lady of the house absolutely loves swans. And of course, Amena loved the actual house, so she kind of made it a swan and all Christmassy because she kind of wanted representation to those things that she loved. So the holiday and obviously the house that she kind of inspired everything decor-wise off of. But that's kind of like a fun fact backstory about this piece for you guys, because there's a lot to our interview sometimes with her. But very gorgeous piece. I don't know where. I like to show you guys the print version so we can see the difference visually, but I'll have to look for it real quick if we have it. Yep, there we go. I think we only have this mini one currently of it. This one's one of our like medium size, less smalls. And honestly, so this is it, if the studio light doesn't get in the way. It's one of the smaller ones that we have. I don't think we have a bigger one, unless you guys can find it for me. But this one is the one that we currently have. And I think the only major difference between the print and the original is the color. So there's a slight color difference on it. Again, this is just slightly darker of a print, but you can actually see kind of that like paint stroke lines because of it. I don't know if you can see it too well because of the glare, but you can see a little bit more of that painting strokes. But really the only major difference I think between these two is that the print itself, or at least this version of it, is slightly darker than the original. But other than that, the quality of it looks pretty one-to-one, honestly. At least to me, that's physically in front of both. But very cute. This one I think is the only size we have for this. You'd have to correct me if I'm wrong. But honestly, I think it's fitting. So kind of like a small, we got a small one, obviously. So that would actually be really, that would probably be better than having the original to bring out once a year. Because it's a lot smaller, probably easier to store than a whole painting that's practically, it's almost, I think it's a little bit over half my height, which for context, I am 5'5". So this thing is decently big for storage, which thankfully we have enough storage in the studio, but decently big. And obviously we do have one of the smaller size prints for those, which is actually good for holiday decor. But I don't think we went over that one this time soon, the actual print. Usually I like to mention when I would put these pieces in homes, at least the prints for you guys, because obviously inspiration for you all. I love it when I get inspiration, so you know, I love giving it back. But I don't think we've gone over that one just yet, so I think we'll leave that till next time's live, and then I'll go, when I pull that out, I'll come up with the 3 places I'd put that in an actual home. So that's going to wait till next time's live, so make sure to follow if you want to find out where to put this, at least recommended by me. But very gorgeous, honestly, and I can really see obviously the much more brighter colors. It's really got that wispiness and kind of like motion of her older paintings, which fits. But let us bring out another one. I think it's just going to get smaller from here, but I'm not sure. I might bring out, let me see. Really need to get a better storage system back there, but I found the one that I wanted to show you guys and bring out for you guys. About the same date, honestly, as this one, but this one a little bit more well known to people that's been around on the page. But let's get this one out of here and bring in the next one. We really, the storing paintings this big gets a little bit tough by the time that you get into the amount that we have in our storage. But regardless, here's the next one. So it's actually pretty much the same height, I think, as Temptation that we brought out when we first started this live stream, because it's definitely obviously bigger than the Swan. But this is Fox. So Fox was done in 2023, I think about the same time as the Swan one, even though I think now that I'm actually thinking back to it, that's probably 2022, but who knows, honestly, you'd have to ask Lars yourself, but currently she's not obviously here in this live, but so you know. But this was 2023, and it was done actually as an event piece. So here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, there is a downtown historic district because if you didn't know, which I don't know how many people actually know this, we have a lot of history in Virginia. We've had a lot of wars. We have most of our presidents came from Virginia since we're so close to Washington, D.C. But we have a lot of history here, and we have a historic district because George Washington had a actual home here and all that other stuff, yeah. But once a year, sometime around the fall, I can't exactly remember when, there is a single day that all the artists gather onto the streets and basically take over the historic district. It's called, I believe, Art First or Art Fight. It's run by the local pawn shop in downtown, which is not an actual like pawn shop. It's a pawn shop as in like arts and knickknacks by local artists. But they host it once a year, and we all get down there and we paint something on the actual streets for a whole day, and then it ends. So if you're not there that day specifically, you missed it sadly. But this one was done in the 2023 event. So she went out there with kind of a basic, just a background, and she went ahead and made this gorgeous box painting on the actual streets. And at the time when she finished this, I didn't mention this last live, but I'll mention it this live. When she finished this, it was not actually finished. So she technically did finish it in a day because it has not been touched since. But when she was done with the event, she actually wanted to tweak up the tail a little bit. So the tail, she initially wanted to make it a little bit fluffier, but once we brought it back out of storage, she decided that she didn't want to touch it. She didn't even want to sign it on the front. So this is actually one of the very few, I think the only one currently that's unsigned on the actual front of the canvas, because she decided it was perfect how it is and she didn't want to mess up any of the colors from that day because she hand mixes all her paints. So it's literally the same way as it was back in 2023, but it's just a little fun fact for those who know that obviously she wanted to at one point change that tail but never did. Now, of course, for those who's like, right, there's no signature on the front, yes, that is correct, there's no signature on the front. Usually she would sign sometime around this point down here. That's like her general signing area for anyone that wants a fun fact about that and try to find it. Usually it's around that area. This is one of the actual original works of hers that's bigger, that's on the back. So only those who actually take it off the wall and move it around will actually see the signature on the back. But this one is Fox specifically, and you can kind of see that now you're looking at, it's going between the phases of currently 2025 and back then 2024, where it's a lot of detail in the background here that was very much reminiscent of like 2023 and past, but it started going obviously into this more detail on the animals and these central pieces, which is now more 2024, 2025 current. But let me bring it up close so you can really get the colors, because this piece and a lot of her works are mainly color-based pieces, but you can really see it once it's up close, which you're going to see a little bit of my shadow, but you can really see this one particularly, it has a very interesting style with the flowers here, where you can kind of see through them, honestly. It's kind of like a crayon, somebody crayoned it in, which is very unique because usually she does not leave it so see-through. She'll actually kind of like paint in more shades and stuff, but she decided not to. But you can tell here she's actually got a lot of color going on in the fur here, which this is what I was talking about. This is much newer date, where before she wouldn't have usually done this much detail on fur colors. She would have usually just done normal shading, but this is much more up-to-date type coloring examples of her painting style. This is probably about 2024 beyond now. But very gorgeous, a lot of detail here, honestly. It's all the flowers all over. You can't really see it where I'm gesturing, but there's tons of flowers all over the canvas, and honestly, it was a fan favorite all of last year. So all of last year was a fan favorite piece to everyone that visited the gallery, which now it's obviously with us, so it's not on showcase, but very beautiful piece. It's got a lot of detail, it's got a lot of coloring, from the blues on the nose to obviously the browns here. I can literally stare all day and point out colors to you guys. Like, our artist, Amena, she really does specialize in color works and like animals and flowers. So this is literally like one of the pieces that has all three of them, which is delicious. But this one specifically, I absolutely love it. It's a fan favorite, and honestly, I can see why. Let me see now if I can find, oh, I already found it. I just looked up to the side. Let's see how the print differs from the original. Now, we do have a few different types of prints for this one. We have like a smaller one, and then we have a bigger one, which I'm going to be bringing out the smaller one. We went over yesterday's live, so we went over this one yesterday, but let us see how this differs from the original, which you can already immediately see there's some difference, which that's usually about right for reproductions. It is a little bit more on the purple side, I believe. That would be correct. So the print's a little bit more on the purple side, while the actual original piece is more on the oranges. But honestly, I think other than that, it's pretty crisp. Now, yes, because of the purples, it is a lot darker than the original, but it does have its own charm. I feel like this is more of like, it gives more Halloween now, which honestly, obviously gives fall already, because foxes, fall, obviously, is a kind of like fall leaves happening here. This is a rose that's not even fully painted in, but you know, very fall you got here. And now it's a little bit darker on the print, which makes it obviously a little bit more faller, more purpler and stuff. But I think it's pretty much up to scale other than that. And the actual reproduction here very nicely on this smaller one. Of course, we do have a bigger one, but I won't pull that out today since I don't want to bore you too much on the prints. But very gorgeous. And we did actually go over this one yesterday on the top 3 places I would put this in. Thing is, I can't immediately remember off the top of my head where I said, so that's very fun. But I believe just looking at, obviously now I can come up with 3 more just from looking at. And the first one, the first place I would put this would actually be a foyer. I would put this in a foyer, guys. Of course, comment below if you agree on where you would put this. I would put this in a foyer. This would be a very nice foyer decoration, honestly. I would put this in a dining room. A dining room would also be really good, especially for Thanksgiving. This would be a very good Thanksgiving decoration. It would fit Thanksgiving and Halloween really well, but I feel like it would be a very good dining room decoration. And then the last place I would probably put this would be a living room. I would not put this piece in a bedroom, I don't think. I would put this in a living room, because once again, it's kind of like, I feel like this is more of a decorational, seasonal piece, kind of like with the swan, Merry Beginnings we went over earlier. This is more of a decorational, seasonal piece I would bring out occasionally, which now is obviously the right season for this piece since it is now almost fall. You blink and then those green trees in the background I'm seeing here, I don't know if you guys are seeing green trees wherever you are. These green trees, they are no longer going to be green. Like, you blink, you wake up one day, and all the leaves are going to be gone. They're going to be brown and crispy, which that's how quickly it feels like it happens. But very gorgeous. I feel like, honestly, the reproduction, even though it's slightly different color, it really does do it justice in the actual detailing here. But very gorgeous, honestly. Now let me put down this print very nicely over here. And since we're in the 30-minute marker, we have to take a water break. Make sure you drink your water. That's something I forget to do sometimes, but cheers. And let us, or at least let me, reintroduce myself. You guys can reintroduce yourself if you want as well, but most importantly, it will probably need to reintroduce what's going on here. So, since we're midway through the live, it's good to do that, and like we do every live. Hello, I am Delphine. This is Amena art that you're currently watching at the moment. You might not be watching this in 30 minutes, but you're currently watching this at the moment. And we do very big scale luxury works, and we do actually collector's editions and luxury prints as well, which I'm showing you a bit of both today. And as you can see, I am actually brought out the originals today, so we can kind of compare them to the prints. And you can actually see the originals for once, because usually on these lives I do not bring out the originals. And I know, I get it, you probably want to see the originals more than the prints, but it takes a lot of time. It's literally exhausting to move these around and put them back, but I like to bring it out sometimes, and this is one of those times. So come on in, say hi, stop in for the art, stay for me yapping about colors and stuff, because I love to geek around it. And honestly, got quite a nice life. But now I've done my reintroductions, and hello everyone again. Let us continue on to the next piece, which I don't know what the next piece is, because we have to go and look and find out. Which we might go smaller now, because we've got some much smaller pieces here off to the side. I never put these back properly. We have so many that it's literally like impossible to put these back without having a whole team, which currently is just me at the moment. The rest of the team's busy. So, I'm going to say goodbye to Fox, which, yes, for everyone that's wondering, that is the actual full name of this painting. That is not an abbreviation. That is literally what it is called. So if you're literally just looking for the painting itself, or the print, or whatever, it's literally just called Fox. But I don't know if I'll have to bring this up higher. I might have to bring this up higher. We're just gonna, you know, this is one of her smaller ones, as you can tell. I went from super tall to super short, and I'll move it backwards so you can probably hopefully see a bit better. Just bring the phone closer to you, obviously. Best solution. This one is called Cascading Flowers, and I did show this one, I believe not yesterday's live, but the day before this live. Back when I was showing you guys just our square prints, which we go through the lives basically every day at the moment. And I showed this one specifically, and then I showed the next one that I'll probably bring out after this. And this piece is actually one of the longest running paintings here at Amena Art. It took Amena K so long for her to finish this painting. I am telling you that there was multiple times in this painting's like timeline I thought it was done, and she's like, it's not done. It just needs like something more. It's literally been in and out of storage for years. So for years, literally this painting in and out of storage, and obviously now that I'm bringing it out, clearly it is actually finished. So it is done, it is signed down here, and this is for the people that's probably going to say something in the comments. This is the correct way it's supposed to be facing. But if you ever try to do print, if you ever try to do anything, it's supposed to be this side downwards. It's supposed to be going downwards. Downwards. Yes, I know the signature is sideways, but that's just how she signs things sometimes. But this one specifically, I believe she started, I want to say she started this probably around 2021, 2022, but I wouldn't know the exact date actually for this piece, which is wow. But it was completed and signed in 2024. So basically it had a long running of 3-4 years, maybe even 5, of it being painted from start to finish. And this piece specifically is very interesting because where most people would paint over, redo things completely in this time period, she did not. What she did is that she just kept adding to it. So this blue background that you see here, that is the exact same background that she started with. She did not paint over it and then do it all over again. She started exactly with that blue background, and she just kept adding on to the details of the flowers and the what are they called? They're not feathers, they're leaves. Onto the leaves as well, which, fun fact as well, I love adding fun facts for you guys, especially on these lives, is this flower specifically she does not remember what it's supposed to be. I know, it's kind of crazy because this is the woman that literally paints flowers and animals as her top two things. She doesn't remember what the flower was supposed to be because she kept bringing it in and out of obviously painting. She forgot what the reference was for this. So it's a mystery. Nobody knows what this flower is. But it's very gorgeous. I'm going to bring it up close, hopefully, for you guys to see here. It might just be easier for me to carry this one over because it's quite low down. At least this one's not as heavy as the other ones for you guys. But this has a lot of different detail to it. So my first favorite thing to point out is actually, whatever this is called, it's the centerpiece basically of the flowers. You can tell that it has so much detail compared to like everything else, especially this one down here. Look at that detail compared to the rest of the flower. That is clearly a time-stamped piece where she was doing a lot more detail at the time that she was doing these pieces here, which that was probably about, I don't know when that would be actually, because I don't think, this was actually, you know what, I think I know when she did that part of the painting. So since I stare at all works done by our amazing artist, Amena all the time, this was probably that little piece, the centerpiece of the flowers. She probably added that to this painting the same time that she was doing the paintings of cherries, those was cherries, and the eels painting. So she did that probably around the same time because those were highly detailed in small details like that. Of course, then you got some other detail differences, like the lines on this flower, completely different from the lack of lines on this flower. So clearly, two different timelines here, because you would not have done that normally. As well as you can see overall, she's got her gorgeous color theory really working out for her here with all her beautiful colors in the leaves, which make it honestly very vibrant, which I love the leaves because they're just so colorful, even though you naturally wouldn't be able to tell. But it's a very beautiful piece, honestly. And I honestly would not know what flowers even could possibly be. And apparently she doesn't even know either. So take your best guess in the comments. I would love to know what you guys would guess this flower is supposed to be. This is obviously kind of reddish pink flower with like a yellow center. But very gorgeous piece. And honestly, to myself at least, this is giving these fronts as kind of a location with this very like light blue happening here, where you've got the flowers, which they have flowers and beautiful things, and then you've got the blues. But that's where it kind of reminds me of. Obviously, tell me where you guys would think it would go. But for the theme, I kind of came up with my own because I don't think she gave one in the interview we had with her. The interview we had with her for this piece was so long ago now. It was like a year ago, but we still have it on YT for you guys that's interested. I've kind of given it my own reverb with you guys on what's behind this piece. And I think the meaning behind it, at least to what I can tell, is change. So I've given it its own meaning, as obviously a person always sees a piece differently than everyone else. But this one, I've given kind of the meaning of change because as a person, we kind of change over years. Even though most people can't tell from like the outside, you look at it and you're like, that's just how it was, right? That's how it always was. But no, it's always been changing. Even though you have the same body, you still have the same background as you grew up with. You always change in subtle little things, like this red leaf that she did over here, or the little centerpiece of the flowers, or how this one has more lines than everything else. Every part of you changes, and you just keep adding on more colors and more details as you continue to grow as a person, which I feel like that's what this painting really represents, at least to me. It represents change over time. But very gorgeous piece. I believe we have the print around here somewhere, which let me see. I had it earlier. It's time for my favorite time. What does the print look like compared? Trying to find it for you. Oh, here it is. I found it. We have these things all over the place. Honestly, a little bit different, but it's not as different as the last few ones. So if you were here on the last few ones, obviously you will tell that this is not as major as a difference than those ones, but if you have not, then you'll catch the replay hopefully or later on our page. But let me show you this. So it's literally, it's pretty much one for one. So from a distance, it pretty much, literally, exact same thing. The literally quality on this, amazing for the actual like collector's print. This is amazing quality where it's literally basically got the exact same coloring from a distance. You can tell immediately. Of course, when I bring it a little bit up closer, and of course when you put it like side by side, you can see there's a slight subtle color difference in the leaves, where these leaves specifically, the more vibrant ones, when up close, is not as vibrant in the reprint. But honestly, considering the last ones we've looked at side by side, this isn't that major of a difference. Still very gorgeous though, like this, and you can still see the detail of that middle piece there. Very gorgeous though, as a piece, as a print, I believe. But since we did go over this one, over yesterday's, or it was, I don't think it was yesterday's, it was probably the day before yesterday. It was soon. We recently went over the square prints, and I was telling you guys where I would put the prints in people's homes. The top 3 places I said I would put cascading flowers, which this is cascading flowers if you're just jumping in, is I said it would go when a, where was it? It would go, where I've gone, great. It's all this time, guys. If you've grown along these lives, you know I forget about things often. I'm pretty sure it was, I want to say one of them was like some sort of like garden room, / tea room. I want to say the other one was like, I don't know, probably like a meditative space, even though that's probably not correct. And the last place I want to say would have most likely been, I feel like it would have been bedroom. I feel like it probably would have said bedroom back then. I would have said bedroom, honestly. But it's just very nice, calm, peaceful. It gives bedroom. Like a nice bedroom piece without having a lot of detail. For those who don't want a lot of detail, like a whole, like fast animal thing, I feel like this gives bedroom. I'll say those are my 3 currently. It constantly changes if you're on these lives, but very gorgeous, honestly. I would actually get this print because it's so similar to the original. But once again, a close up to this one. Very gorgeous. Of course, the original itself is gorgeous as well, even though it's much smaller compared to a lot of the works that she does nowadays, which we're about to go over another one of her works, which I think that one might be, this next one coming out here might be the last one for tonight's live. We'll have to see it, our timer obviously on, so I don't leave you guys on a sour note. But we're bringing out the next one, which is actually the exact same size in comparison, even though this one's technically newer than this one. But I'm going to say goodbye to Cascade Flowers. I'll check comments when I come back just to make sure you guys don't have questions. So questions now, or if you want to say something, say it now. I'll come and check you guys after I go and put this off to the side. And then I'll bring over and put on, alright, second to last one to last one for this live stream. So let me see, anything happening here? We got a whole bunch of things going on. On my side, I'm seeing a ton of join alive as a guest invites. But I don't see any comments at the moment. But hello everyone that's coming in, and hello to everyone that's currently clicking on links. We have everything. I think we have all the prints with us tonight. They're not currently on screen, they're like scattered around. But if you have a question about them, I can bring them out, of course. But continuing on to the next piece, because that's what we're obviously here for, the art. Next one we have up is actually one of the ones I like to bring out usually before or after Cascade Flowers, which this is called Peaceful Jungle. It's actually about the same size as Cascade Flowers, though it's much newer. This piece was started and finished in 2024, I believe, in, I want to say August, but it's probably not August. I don't know, August seems just like it was the right month, but it probably was not August. Do not take that from me. But this one was started and finished sometime in 2024. And this was actually the first ever painting done by the artist Amena in the gallery that we had in the historic downtown district in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So last year we had a kind of shop in downtown location, Virginia, for a whole year, and we were there for a while. We loved seeing you guys come in and stuff, but we had to close it down so we could obviously focus more on lives and everything else. I know, sad now, but we'll eventually have more stuff for you guys. But this one was actually the first ever piece painted there at the actual gallery and shop. She painted it there in the actual shop window. It only took her one day. It took her a single day to finish this painting, which if you were listening to Cascade Flowers, that one that we just showed you was actually, I believe that was 3 years. So that it's a very big time gap, 3 years to a single day, which don't ask me why it took so long of a difference, but it just did. This one though, it has a lot of detail, as you can kind of see. It's got a little bit of background detail, but mainly that is just because of the actual background is a lot of detail. But mainly, it's gorgeous green tiger. It's kind of lounging here off to the side in this peaceful jungle, which that's why it's called Peaceful Jungle, obviously. But a lot of colors going on here, not too many, but still a lot of colors. It's got greens, it's got some purples, it's got some like of colors going on here, not too many, but still a lot of colors. It's got greens, it's got some purples, it's got some like I'm sorry you guys, I probably should have had that off, but that shocked me. Sorry. Okay. It has some like whitish yellows as well, and it's got a lot of different kind of tones, but not really as many as like the fox. If you were here during the fox, you could tell how many tones and colors there was in this. While this one has more different, like very sharp contrasting colors, it doesn't really have a lot in between colors that you can tell. But let me take it off and actually bring it closer to you guys, because it'll be a lot easier for me to just take it off and pick it up instead of having to adjust the entire canvas. Since this is a small one, it's pretty easy to. But this one, obviously, very gorgeous up close. Like, you can see that she put a lot of detail into that face there. Like, a lot of detail. But it's also got some nice, like, floral stuff up here. Off to the side, obviously, as well. Of course, the signature on this one does stand out a lot more than some of her other ones, which is right here in the corner, very bright and white. But it's literally just this gorgeous like tiger just lounging here, just kind of like looking out to the side, all happy and content. But it's very gorgeous, honestly, even though it's not a lot of color difference like in the details, which she mixed it a ton. It's still one of her beautiful pieces, as in she did mix different colors in like saturation as well. Like she did the saturations really well on this piece, where it's not like the purples are like, wow, in your face. It actually mixes very well with the greens happening here. So even though it doesn't have a lot of colors and a lot of detail, it still obviously is very gorgeous, considering that she really does work with colors well. But overall, this piece is beautiful, like I've been saying. I said that was basically all her works, because I find all her works very beautiful in color, but also in light. But the piece I am going to be comparing this with, because we love to do this on this live, that's why we're here today, is I have the print with me. So I can immediately tell this one's one of the ones that's a little bit darker than the original. But honestly, I feel like the contrast here, since it's a lot sharper, it fits pretty nice for the smaller size. So you probably can't see from the distance. I don't know how much you can see because I'm very far away from the phone. But it does have a small major color difference. You can tell it's a little bit darker. But honestly, it's not bad. I think the darkness of it, when I bring it up close at least, you're going to be able to see a lot more of that sharp difference in color, where if this was just normally smallened in size, it will just become probably a blur of purples, greens, and whites, where since it's a lot bigger, obviously you're going to see that easier on the original. But let me bring this up closer for you guys. We can kind of see it a little bit better. Here we go. You can kind of see it does have a little bit more darker contrast here. I think it literally is very beautiful still. And gorgeous. And honestly, it's not bad. I think this is one of the good reproductions that we got done here for this piece. Honestly, I do enjoy this one. I think this is top 2 of the prints that we brought out today on today's live, which the top 1 would be Cascading Flowers, which is the one that we did right before this one, which that one was basically spot on. It was literally right down to like the last color, other than like one corner of the leaf. But this is top 2, I would think, print in actual like perfectness and really good like actual stuff. But I like to tell you obviously where I would put this, but do comment where you would hang these if you have an idea. But the top 3 places I would put this, because we brought this out, not yesterday's live, but the live before yesterday, would be, I would put this in a gym. I say this every single time I bring out Peaceful Jungle. I would put it in a gym. I would put it in like a greenery sunroom. Sunroom is basically a room that has all these plants and it has a bunch of windows and stuff. It's a private house. I would put it in a sunroom, and I would put in a, I don't know what the last one was at the moment, but from on top of my head, I would say I would put this also in a bedroom. I would put this in a bedroom, just a lot more calmer bedroom, like you just want calm greenery bedroom. I feel like this would fit. But very gorgeous reproduction, very gorgeous piece itself. And yeah. Anyways, let me check on the time here. And yes, we are over with this live now, obviously. So we have gone through our full hour live, and that means that we are done. So if you've just joined in, obviously just quickly go through any products that you want to see or ask any questions, obviously, if you have any. but we got through our entire hour and stuff, so we're going to be wrapping it up and calling it a day now. And thank you obviously for joining us and being here. If you were here just for a moment, we do enjoy you coming, supporting us, and watching us. We're going to wrap it up though now, and I'm going to head up and put some stuff away that I took out. But I think you guys will have some time to kind of wrap it up and obviously ask any questions if you have any. But once again, I am Delphine, this is Amena Art, and thank you for watching. I will see you all next time. Goodbye!